Hi friends, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe my channel. The Old Man and His Sons. The first story. Let us listen about the old man and his sons. A man had three sons. They were very strong, but they always fought with one another. This made him unhappy. One day he fell ill, so he called his sons to his bedside. He sent one of them to bring some sticks. The boy went out and brought a bundle of sticks. The father gave this bundle to them and asked them to break it. The boys, in turn, tried hard but could not do so. Then the father asked his sons to take one stick each and break it. They all took one stick each and broke it easily. The father said to them, "You are like these sticks. If you are good and stay together, you will remain strong. Otherwise, you will lose one by one." The boys understood their father and promised not to fight with each other anymore. Moral: unity is strength. Moral of this story is unity is strength. Let us go to the next story. Listen carefully, children. Listen carefully. The name of the story is Wolf, Wolf. Wolf, Wolf. Once there was a shepherd boy who was very naughty. He used to take sheep for grazing to the nearby hillside. One day he thought that he would make fun of his fellow shepherds and started shouting, "Wolf, wolf, help, help." All the nearby shepherds came with big sticks to kill the wolf. But when they reached there, they did not see any wolf. They asked the boy, "Why did he cry for help?" The boy laughed and said that he was just fooling. The shepherds got angry and went away. Next day, the mischievous boy played the same trick and made them very angry. Some days later, a wolf really came. The boy got frightened and started shouting for help, but nobody turned for his help. The wolf killed one of his sheep and took it. The boy realized his mistake and felt sorry. Moral of this story is we must always speak truth. Moral is we must always speak truth. Children, let us go to the next story. Listen carefully. The name of the story is The Fox and the Crane. The Fox and the Crane. Once there lived a fox in a jungle with other animals. He had a habit of teasing other animals by playing tricks. One day, the fox invited a crane for dinner. He prepared tasty soup and served it in a plate. Let us start, said the fox and began lapping. The crane enjoyed its smell. It made his mouth water. But the poor crane could not sip even a drop of soup because of his long beak. Then he realized that the cunning fox had played a trick on him. He just looked on helplessly while the fox was finishing the soup. After some days, the crane invited the fox for the dinner. He prepared he prepared delicious soup and served it in a jug with a narrow mouth. Let us begin, said the crane and put his long beak into the jug. He sipped the soup and said to the fox, I have never tasted such delicious soup which I have prepared specially for you. Please have it as much as you want. But the fox could not drink the soup at all. The mouth of the jug was too narrow for him. He felt sorry for himself and he realized he was paid back for his mischief. Children, moral of this story is tit for tat. Tit for tat. Let us go to the next story. The Emperor's New Clothes. The Emperor's New Clothes. This is the story of an emperor who loved beautiful new clothes. His only interest in life was to dress in expensive new clothes, so much so that he had a different dress for every hour of the day. He did not care about his soldiers, nor did he care about governing his people. He went to the theatre not to watch a performance, but to show off his new clothes. He went for a ride in his carriage, not to meet his people and solve their problems, but to display his new clothes. It was because of this peculiar habit of his that he'd become an object of joke amongst his people. Instead of saying the kings in court, which would have been true for any normal king, it was said of him, the king is in his dressing room. This city which the emperor ruled was always blistering with activity. Visitors used to come from far and wide just to get a glimpse of the emperor. One day, two swindlers arrived pretending to be weavers. They informed the king that they could weave the most magnificent cloth imaginable in brilliant colors and patterns. Moreover, the fabric had a magical quality in it. It would be visible only to those who were not foolish and were fit for the post they were holding. The incompetent and stupid people would not be able to view the fabric. The king was very impressed. It would be wonderful to have clothes made from that fabric. This way, I would be able to discover all those who were unfit for their posts. I would be able to distinguish the wise men from the fools. The emperor immediately sanctioned a huge sum of money and ordered the weavers to start their work. The impostors set up their looms and started their work. They bought the finest of silk and the purest of gold, which they hid away in their bags as they pretended to work on the empty looms late into the night. The emperor was curious. He wanted to know how far the work had progressed, but he was a little uneasy. He remembered the peculiar quality of the fabric, that it would not be visible to the foolish people. Not that he doubted himself, but just in case. When he could wait no longer, he decided to send his honest old minister to the weavers. He will be the best one to tell me how the material looks, for he is a sensible man and no one is more worthy of his position than he. The king reasoned. So the good old minister went to the room where the two impostors were working, and he got the shock of his life. He could not see a thing. The weavers invited him to take a closer look at the loom. They pointed out the intricate patterns and the magnificent colors. The the minister got even more confused. He could not see a thing. No one must come to know of this. I will never admit that I am unable to see the material. When the weavers pestered him to say something, he said, "Oh, it is magnificent, the very best. What a pattern! What colors! I will be sure to tell the emperor how delighted I am with it." 2 more weeks went by. The king sent them more stock of silk and gold and silver thread. Then he sent other officials as well to observe the weaver's progress. They too were shocked as they could see nothing. There was not a single thread upon the loom, but they too pretended as if the fabric was coming out beautifully. The impostors were clearly enjoying themselves. They applied for more money, and the king happily sanctioned it. One day, they announced that the fabric was complete. Two other statesmen went to inspect it, and they too lied to the king. They advised him to have clothes made out of that fabric and then exhibit them in a grand parade. The swindlers stayed up the entire night just before the procession was to take place. Everyone could see that they were in a great rush to finish the emperor's new clothes. They pretended to take the material from the loom. They cut in the air with large scissors. They sewed they sewed with needles without any thread. Finally, they announced, before the cocks could crow, "Behold, the clothes are ready for His Royal Highness." Even the king had stayed up the entire night. He was just too excited to sleep. He came to the weaver's room with his most distinguished nobleman. noblemen. The weavers held up the trousers, the coat, and the mantle for the emperor to see. These are as light as a spider's web. You might feel that you don't have a thing on, but that is the good thing about them. Even though the king could not see a thing, he did not admit so. He did not admit so. The weavers told him, "Sir, if your royal highness pleases, you may remove your present clothes so that we can dress you up in these magnificent new ones in front of this large mirror." The emperor undressed, and the swindlers pretended to dress him up piece by piece. They even fastened a train around his waist. The emperor preened and pranced, admiring himself in front of the mirror. Oh, how beautiful they are! How well they fit! He seemed to regard his outfit with the greatest interest. All the distinguished cavaliers present in the room showered praises on the emperor's new clothes. None of them wanted to admit that they could see nothing. Finally, the weavers announced that the king was ready for the grand parade. The canopy was waiting outside. The nobleman, the noblemen who were to carry his train bent down, pretending to pick up his mantle. The emperor walked beneath the beautiful canopy in a grand procession. Everyone was out watching. The streets were packed and all the windows were occupied. Everyone said, "Wow, what a magnificent outfit! What a perfect train! How beautifully they fit him!" No one wanted to appear stupid in the eyes of their neighbors. None of the emperor's early costumes had received such praise. "But he has not got anything on," a little child said aloud. His parents hushed him, but the crowd had caught on. Soon, word spread like wildfire, and everybody admitted, "Our emperor has nothing on."